Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Randomized. I'm your host, Buffer, and I have a returning friend joining me today. Please say hello.
Hello, I'm the brain, apparently. Mental angel.
Well, welcome back to the show. Tell me, are you enjoying this beachside vacation?
You already know how I feel about the water temple.
Well, you seem to share the same opinion that most of the fan base does. So what if I told you?
Mostly because I'm just bad with directions.
Oh, well, then every area is the water temple to you. So there are two big things about this dungeon that make it kind of a pain in the butt. It's very hated, and I feel like a lot of that hate is unjustified. I mean, if you don't like water areas, you don't like water areas, but don't judge every water area based on the experience you had with one of them. And the thing about this, sure, you can't swim freeform, but I feel like in a dungeon like this, it's really not that necessary. But so the two big things that hold this dungeon back a little bit is a problem with the menu. Also, you're supposed to meet Adult Rudo here, which stirred up a lot of feelings in young boys, but because the randomizer cuts out cutscenes, well, she's not here anymore. And I don't think we ever get to see her because they cut out all of the cutscenes, and she doesn't show up in the normal environment at all. But that's neither here nor there. So there's a big menu problem with this dungeon, and that's whenever you want to change from your iron boots to your Kokiri boots, you have to pause to do it. And so you have to wait for the menu to load, you have to select the boots, wait for the game to register that you equip the boots, then you have to unpause. And it's slow, it's painful, it's a slog. That is not something I can defend. However, I can say that Ocarina of Time 3D fixed this problem entirely by just making the iron boots an item instead of a piece of gear.
Oh, that's good.
So all you have to do is tap one button, on boots, off boots, on boots, off boots. Same thing with the hover boots, which, you know, doesn't matter so much for me because I like to wear them anyway. But the other big problem with this dungeon that I feel throws a lot of people off is that up to this point, most of the dungeons you've been doing are fairly linear. You have no real way of... Ow.
You got hit by a rock.
Ow. It was spikes. It wasn't a rock.
Spikes weren't even out yet.
I don't know what those things are called. I'll ask Navi when I next see them. But basically, most of these dungeons usually have like one way you can go. Maybe two, maybe it's a T branch where you can go one way until you hit a wall and then you go the other way. Well, this one is incredibly freeform. It's a very non-linear dungeon, and the over-reliance on Zelda's Lullaby could be considered a negative here. I don't mind it so much, but basically, the idea is the water temple changes how you're supposed to navigate dungeons, and I feel that throws a lot of people off. But ignoring that, you get the compass fairly early. You get the map fairly early. Just read the map. It's really not that hard. So I don't know. I will defend this dungeon until my dying day, so help me.
Well, it's your favorite dungeon. You have a right to do so.
Yeah, the Spirit Temple is actually my favorite, but this is a very close second. I love the aesthetic here. I love the dungeon design. It's a good place to be. I like it a lot. Anyway, so there was a key up there.
Notice you got the golden glass.
Yes, I did. I got those last time. Awesome. Right,
you
more
are
keys.
also plus how many more hearts?
I'm nearly full. I'm nearly full. I'm suspecting that I will probably get... So I need 3 more heart pieces and then I'll have a full bar. And I've never done that before.
Nice.
Now, of course, part of that is the necessity of the randomizer to do everything, but...
Okay. So, are you, towards the end of the game, gonna let your heart get low enough that we hear the noise of your low heart?
You know what? I probably will. I probably will. I'll probably do that as a fun little extra thing at the end, so you guys can all look forward to that.
I am dying to know what your low heart count sounds like.
Well, I'm not dying. That's the whole point. But no, I will defend the water temple until my dying breath, because this dungeon is not as bad as everybody likes to make it out to be. And because this dungeon was so polarizing, now everybody just instantly hates water-themed dungeons. And I would like you to wager a guess what some of my favorite dungeons are in most of the later Zelda games.
The water ones.
Yeah. Now, you know, when it comes to Majora's Mask, when we get there, Great Bay Temple isn't my favorite. But that's for other reasons. Not simply because it's a water-themed dungeon. But like Lake Bed Temple in Twilight Princess, I freaking love that place. And the Ancient Cistern is the closest thing we get to a water-themed dungeon in Skyward Sword, and everybody loves that. It's a good place to be. Anyway, so if I was doing Skull Sanity, his legs don't even connect to his torso. But if I was doing a Skull Sanity run, then that Skulltula would actually matter. But in this case, you know, it's just there. I need 9 more before I have all the Skulltula rewards. But I'm doing pretty good.
How many Skulltulas are there total? 100?
Yeah, there are 100 total, and I only need to collect half of them to get every single reward in this game, besides the Infinite Wallet, which... Don't even bother getting all 100 Skulltulas in a normal run of Ocarina of Time, because you will never need that much money unless you are just bad at the game and lose your tunics repeatedly. Because your tunics are... I literally went the longest possible route to get to the screen. Your tunics are the only thing that costs that much money in this game.
Wait, you can lose your tunics?
Yes, Lifelikes will eat them just like they eat your Hylian shield. And replacing the Goron tunic is 200 rupees. Replacing the Zoro tunic is 300.
Oh my god.
So part of what you can do to help maximize your efficiency with this dungeon is every time you change the water level, hit every single thing on the floor that it is currently set at. Even if you can't complete everything on that floor, hit every single one of them. You never know what could be important and what won't be important. Again, the trick to the water temple is being thorough. That's all it is. And the other people who complain about using the hook shot to kill the shell blades, I'm not going to name any names. Give yourself a little bit of space. The hook shot works best at a distance. Like mid-distance, really. It doesn't matter. So the added perk of having the long shot already is I have complete access to this dungeon. Nothing in here is inaccessible to me.
Nice.
Which is good. I mean, I'm gonna let him live. He hasn't done anything to hurt me.
Yep.
Nope.
The whirlpool.
No, so this room's got a consistent current. You can tell because it actually displays it up there. Again, the trick to this room, get into this corner. I'm going to be doing that for a lot of this. Like, this is going to be the most walk-through-y that this run has been, simply because due to the amount of hatred for this dungeon, I want there to be as many reliable resources for good advice as possible. Now, I'm going to have a very big problem with the fact that I came into this dungeon with 19 hearts and the defensive upgrade. And I'll talk about that when I get to the problem that I speak of. So this dungeon has a lot of keys.
A lot of switches.
A lot of keys, a lot of switches, a lot of switching of shoes. So, fun little thing. If you equip the iron boots mid-jump, all of your momentum disappears and you just drop straight down. Funny little thing that Aunt Susie and I discovered when we were playing.
That's great.
You find joy in the little things, especially when you're 5. The smallest little detail is hilarious to you. Yeah, so I'm going to be as talkative as I can. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about because most of my personal stories with this game have already been shared. Just, you know, I enjoy this place. I love the music here. I've used the music here in D&D before. I'm going to use it again in this campaign somewhere. Skaboosh. Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, no, I remember when I was playing through this with you, you did a lot of the water temple for me.
Well, that may have something to do with the fact that you're fairly non-committal when it comes to doing things you don't want to do. Ow. What are these things called anyway? Spikes. Innovative. There's a Mario enemy named Spike that has more personality. Alright, so I can't actually... Wait a minute. Yes, I can. Nothing is stopping me from doing this. So normally what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to wait until you have the long shot to do anything in this room. But guess what? I already have.
Don't you normally get the long shot in this room?
Yes. Well, not in this room, but...
Temple.
Yeah, the long shot is normally obtained here. Ooh, hold on. Now I've received enough keys, I'm not that worried about it. So...
Besides, I'm sure you'll find more.
No, I'm definitely going to find more. But normally the boss key is down here. But, given that I already have so much... So, whirlpools. Hate them, love them, whatever. This room is... This room can be obnoxious, but it can also not be. It's really how you look at it. But, you know, this, Oh, nope, I don't want to go that way. I don't want to go that way. I want to go the other way. Yeah, no, this path normally takes you to the boss key. Hopefully it'll still be the boss key, or at least something else useful. But... I think the only item I still need in order to beat the game at this point is the light arrows. So hopefully I'll get those here. Maybe I won't. Ow. Alright, hold on. If you're gonna jump me now, do it. Okay. See, all's good. Tech to your friends.
Propel you forward.
Yep.
Instead of backwards.
Okay.
Fine.
So, those stingers that only appeared in Jabba Jabba's belly, they're here too.
Oh.
Also, I think I just killed all of them.
Yeah.
Good. Dang it. Yeah, there's a block in here. You have to move from both sides, and like everywhere else, bombs are important. And I don't think you actually need the hammer anywhere in here, but it does help with a particular problem later on. And I'll talk more about that when I get there. So how's everybody else doing? Everybody playing all the new stuff that's coming out? Ah, yeah. The new Mario Party is going to be coming out real soon, and we're all very excited. Skelly Bones, one of my other co-commentators, is actually going to be turning 21 around the time the game comes out. And we were talking about a Mario Party drinking game.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, no, the whole concept was...
You are going to die.
I mean... Maybe it'll just be a really fun time. You don't know. First of all, I want to make sure that I do not condone underage drinking in any way, shape, or form. But what I do condone is a wonderful Mario Party drinking game, where if you win a mini game, you take a drink. If you get a star, you take a drink. The idea is the winners, the people who are doing really well, get more and more smashed and start doing progressively worse, allowing the other players a chance to catch up and change the tide.
So it evens out.
Yeah, this is something we were planning on doing with Mario Party 2, but Super Mario Party looks like it's going to be a real good time, so I think we're going to go ahead and just do it then. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Additionally, the new Spider-Man game by Insomniac came out, and I completed that recently. I'm not going to say any spoilers here, but if you aren't playing it, what's wrong with you? It is so good. Spider Cop. We're not going to talk about Spider Cop. Remember, this is a spoiler-free channel. Unless I say spoilers, then it's not. It's fine. But just all I'm getting at is, it's not my game of the year, but it's pretty damn close. You should definitely give it a check. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. I mean, it's made by Insomniac, the dudes behind the freaking Ratchet & Clank games. It's gonna be a fun time.
That would be hilarious. Ratchet & Clank randomizer.
Oh lord, like if those games weren't so linear in the way they were structured, I would absolutely jump on board with that. Oh man, the idea of going to pick up one of the wrench upgrades in Ratchet and Clank 2 and instead you get the Rhino. That would be asinine. I'd love that. Oh man.
That would be great.
The dumb,
Win the
stupid
whole
fun.
game with that alone.
Dumb,
What
stupid
is it?
fun.
What is it?
Alright,
What is
this
it?
is gonna be worth the trip.
A key.
I mean, I spent 2 keys to come get a key. That was not worth the trip. But you know what? All you people that are playing the game vanilla, this is how you get here. Hold on. I'm not even going to equip the boots for this. I'm just gonna... I have the silver scale. I can do the dive. I'm gonna dive, and we're gonna just swim our way around, because I don't have to worry about drowning, because I'm wearing my blue tunic. Nope. This way. Yeah, take me that way. No, don't take me that way. Ow. I'm gonna go this way. No. I don't want to change my boots. I'm going to try and avoid changing my boots in this room. Okay. So, that's normally where you get the boss key. That's the whole reason I'm showing that off. Interesting thing. I've talked about the Master Quest version of this game before and how it changes things up to make the game overall harder. So what the Master Quest version does is it... In shorthand, it makes the game harder. But what it really does is it makes every dungeon non-linear. All the items that aren't where they used to be, there are tougher enemies around, everything does double damage,
Oh, jeez.
and it non-linearizes all the dungeons. However, the Water Temple was already linear, so what does it do to the Water Temple instead? It makes it linear. The Master Quest version of the Water Temple is actually easier than the default Water Temple.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it's great. And where I'm going with this is that room I just went through to get the boss key is actually completely unnecessary in the Master Quest version because the boss key isn't down there anymore.
Why not?
It's just dumb, silly things, and I appreciate them a lot.
So, Master Quest for you, who has memorized the location of all the items in the dungeons and
I'm gonna land on spikes.
how to get through. Yeah, you're gonna land on the spikes.
If this were Mega Man, I'd be dead.
Does it actually challenge you?
It does. So, my brain retains the dungeon structure and the layout of all the items and everything in every single Zelda game I've played. The thing I love about Master Quest, and why I think every game should eventually get a Master Quest version, is because the Master Quest tricks my brain into thinking, yeah, no, you know where everything is, it'll be fine. Ow. But when in reality, what it does is it fools me. It tricks my brain into thinking that it's wrong, and I start to erase those old memories. So the beauty of... See, that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to fight the Shell Blades, do it from a distance. Don't do it up close. No, it tricks my brain into thinking that those old memories are wrong, and so I start to forget about them. So the benefit of switching between Master Quest and the default version for me is it effectively lets me re-experience each version of the game, at least until my memory's like, oh, wait a minute, that's what you're supposed to do. And again, I was giving you crap for your memory last time. I would legitimately love to forget every single Zelda game I've played and re-experience them. I think I've actually gotten almost every single key in this dungeon already. I have... Let's see, I need one to open...
Pop quiz. How many keys are in this dungeon?
I don't know. There's a lot. So there are 3 more keys that I need. There's 1 on the middle level and 2 on the upper level. So realistically, if I get 1 more key, I should have all the keys I need. Because normally you're supposed to need, like... 6 or 7? Because you need 1 to get into the tower. You need a couple more to get to the other thing. The point is, I don't have a whole lot more in the key department. So let's see. Wait. Hold on. There's a gold Skulltula in this room that you can normally only get with a long shot.
How do we get out of the way?
No, she's just trying to be helpful. She's trying to make it more difficult. No. No, I just... This has always been such a fun dungeon for me. This has always been, like, it always felt very mysterious and just enigmatic. And then the 3DS version just went ahead and made everything look prettier. And I don't get the hate. I really don't. I don't have the Dungeon Mapper Compass yet. I hope I get those soon so I don't get my hopes up for anything else. Only to be disappointed. Are you ready for this next level puzzle? The water
I can hear that.
Yeah, yeah. The water temple can even... Alright, well, glad we got something disappointing out of the way. But, like, the water temple even uses your expectations against you in terms of puzzle solving. Because when you see one of those switches, the first thing you want to do is hit it with your sword. The first thing you want to do is hit it with your sword. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, if I remember correctly, almost every single time that they have one of those switches in this dungeon and you hit it with your sword, you've done the puzzle wrong. Because it triggers something else that activates immediately. Like, there's a room coming up where you have one of those switches. Where you have one of those switches that when you hit it, an elevator starts going up. And it'll take you up to higher levels. Mm-hmm. And when you do that... So when you hit it with your sword, it goes up without you. Or in that room with that chest that I just got. That's normally the compass, by the way. Hitting the switch with your sword triggers a very short timer that will trip by the time you get halfway to the other chest. Son of a... Really? Really? This is the chest that everybody forgets, by the way. When you take the water level to level 2, go in there, bomb the wall. That's where you get That's where you get a key that everybody likes to forget about. Or in this case, it's just disappointment in physical form. Okay.
You gotta wonder, how many times has Link just dropped a rupee because his wallet was full?
I mean...
It's like, can you just imagine that? It's like, oh, I got a blue rupee. Opens wallet. I can't fit any more in there. Oh well.
And just toss it over his shoulder. That's okay. I like to think that... I like to think that this Link is hardballing it into the ground because he hates everything that these things represent. So, another room that you're normally supposed to go to after you have the long shot, because you can't just run over there.
Not even with the hover boots.
Not even, well, like, with the hover boots you might be able to, but you're not supposed to have them by this point. But, no, that's what that is for. Is, lost in place, and here's another key that a lot of people forget about. Perfect. That one was actually a key. And this will take me up. Yeah. This dungeon has a very roundabout way of navigation, and I like it. And I like that having the long shot now prevents me from having to do more backtracking later on, but the backtracking doesn't even ruin the dungeon. It's just... like, I love exploring these places with the new items I get. I just don't understand the hate. So... this is the elevator I was talking about. Stand here. What's that noise? Surprise! It's attack time. Waiting for you to go up the elevator. So how are you feeling today? What's going on?
I have to work later.
Oh, well. I mean, you're here now.
That's true.
That's gotta be fun.
Yeah, but I'm tired.
When aren't you tired? I think tired isn't a feeling anymore. It's just a default state of being. It's like Super Saiyan.
Like, what is it?
If I had the boss key right now, I could just walk straight to Morpha.
Spoiler.
I mean, I've talked about stuff before. Tech-tight jank. Just die. Hey. Don't yawn into the microphone. No. We're YouTubers. We have to be better. We have to... We can't show weakness. No.
And this is why I will never be a YouTuber.
So you're telling me I shouldn't upload this?
Then you'll just have to record everything all over again.
Oh no, another excuse to go through the water temple again. It's okay. It took me 5 takes to get my intro right, guys. No. Just put me on the thing. Thank you. So, you're supposed to use the hook shot and just kind of platform your way up this thing, but... Yeah, no. Again, just another room where it's... The setting is interesting and can cause anxiety just because it makes you nervous. Alright, this should be the only key I need on this path from here on. And this room. This room's a little time consuming, but nothing too bad. You hit the switch. Which, if I remember right, this is the only one of these in the game where it toggles between, two different colors instead of just being on or off. You use this to just move your way around the room. Now, what I'm showing you is the way you're normally supposed to do it. I'm actually going to skip a step here because we don't need to be watching that cutscene every single time. I'm going to change my boots again, but to a different kind. Because you're not supposed to have these yet. You just do this. Nope. I almost deja vu myself right off the side. Okay. That. And voila, room done. Normally it's a little bit more back and forth, but it's really not that big a deal. Yeah, so that lifelike right there is a jerk. Because if you try to shoot him from here, and you try to aim between the spikes, it won't work. But if you just hook shot over, he's right there, he'll pick you up and he'll swallow your tunic. And if you're not careful, you'll lose your tunic for good.
Oh, that's gross. Hey, you got magic.
Yep. So this room is typically the one thing about the water temple that everybody praises. Because suddenly we're outside.
I remember this fight.
So this is fun. I want you to look at the water. Isn't that just...
It's a reflection.
Look, they actually put all the effort in and they gave me a reflection. It just looks so nice. And hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you want to guess what else started in Zelda 2?
Dark Link.
Dark Link. Now, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to fight him as normal. I'm not going to use the Big Goron sword for this. So, this guy, you see how opaque he looks right now? That's because he's just my shadow, nothing more. This is the closest thing to an actual sword fight I had as a kid. And as you go on, he gets darker, and he starts to learn and adapt. Almost all of Ocarina of Time's programming jargon went into this fight. There we go. Now, doing it this way, this is going to take a bit. Because some interesting things about this fight. He'll learn, he'll adapt, he'll start copying your moves. There are a couple of tactics you can use to guarantee some damage on it. One is to use Din's Fire. Because he'll try to block it, he'll try to avoid it. I mean, he's all the way over there, so he was smart enough to back up. But normally, there's no real way to avoid this. But he's learned that if he backs far enough away, he'll stop taking damage. The more you use it, the more he adapts to it. And at this point, he'll stop copying me and start trying to move more preemptively. And I'm sure you've noticed, that when I try to stab forward,
He jumps on your sword.
he'll jump on my sword. So, you want to talk about some other fun little jargon, you can buy a version of the Bigoron sword from someone in Goron City, but their version is called the Giant's Knife. It's a really terrible version of the Bigoron sword that breaks after 5 swings. If you break it and you try to stab, he'll try to jump on your sword, but there will be no sword to jump onto, so he'll instead land on the blade and hurt himself. And by the same thing, stabbing with the Bigoron sword will have a similar effect. He'll try to jump it, but he won't jump in time and he'll take the damage. So, there's that. But there's...
Because it is a longer sword.
Exactly. But there's a different problem here. I've hit him quite a few times, and he seems to be doing alright. You want to know what's fun about Dark Link? He has the same amount of hearts you do when you walk into the fight.
Oh, no.
That's why I didn't want to get as many heart pieces and heart containers as I did before we walked into this. Now, ultimately, I could just cheese this whole thing with the Bigoron sword. Or using some of the other tactics I've talked to you about. It's entirely possible. Now, I equipped the Mechaton Hammer a while ago, because normally you're supposed to do the Fire Temple before this, and all the other items are completely optional. However, if he hasn't learned how to yet, he cannot block the... He cannot learn... He cannot block the Mechaton Hammer. He will try, but if you're able to... Ow. But if you're able to bridge the gap...
He's hit you when you hit him.
Yes! That's the whole point. Oh no, he just blocked it. I thought he couldn't... Okay, well, you know what? Whatever. The point is, the Mechaton Hammer is another fairly reliable option. Ow. You can't go anywhere now. Trying to back away. Now this fight... So this fight led to a childhood obsession with the idea of fighting your shadow. And that's something that I don't feel... Like, something I feel that's kind of overdone in modern media, but the way I did it was like... When I played Legos with my sister, when I messed around and I did all my original stuff, or, you know, in a D&D campaign, in a room that was meant to parody the Water Temple, it was always a shadow version of everybody, relying on darker versions of, like, your character's desires and motivations. Stuff like that. I love this.
I loved it, but I hated you for
Like, I love this concept. I've always loved this concept. And a lot of people feel that he's the real boss of this temple because Morpha's kind of a pushover, which, there we go.
Ah, damn it.
So, and as it turns out, the whole room was an illusion in the first place. That was Dark Link. I love this dungeon. I love him. I even love Morpha.
We learned your low heart count. Oh my god.
I'm definitely a lot closer. Hopefully Ganon won't end up doing this much damage to me. Alright, there are 2 more chests. One of these has to have the boss key. That one has the boss key. Which means that the next chest I open will have either the dungeon map or the compass, and the last one will have the other one. So we're out of useful items now. Alright, I gotta get used to my button layout because I'm gonna be playing this song a lot later. Yeah, that chest is normally where you get the long shot. So again, like, I remember, like, the long shot for me was like the coolest thing because I remember loving the hook shot and thinking that the long shot is just like, great, they just made one of my favorite items even better. A lot of people also really just don't like the long shot because it's like, oh good, it's just an upgrade for something you already have, and that's, yeah, but so are the silver gauntlets, and so are the golden gauntlets, and those are fine. People enjoy those. Damn it. So this section's a little bit of jank because you gotta run straight, and Link just likes to slide around a lot.
Also remember you doing this for me.
No, because this is funky. This is really weird. There's like a lot of weird slope detection nonsense in here, and it's. But again, this doesn't feel out of place in a water temple. This feels like something you should encounter here. Now here's the problem. I don't remember the fastest way to get up to that ledge, because that ledge is where I want to go. So, give it a slide a little bit, but you'll be fine. I think this is the fastest I've ever done this room.
Probably.
So, no, stop that. Go over here, put on the normal shoes. Alright, there's a fairy in one of those pots, but I'm not going to pick it up. Because if Morpha does enough damage to me, maybe we'll finally get to hear the sound. That's not my bow. That's my bow. No, but so like favorite area, favorite element styled theme, favorite like one of my favorite dungeon themes, an upgrade to one of my favorite items. There's the compass, which means Morpha has the map. This dungeon was everything I wanted as a kid. And again, like a reminder, I was absolutely infatuated with the idea of swimming. I loved swimming. I loved the concept of swimming. I was like, hey, you want to go into the pool? There was never a time I said no. And this just emphasizes that. Fun dungeons, fun exploration.
Water kid.
Yeah.
You were a water kid.
Good dungeon, guys. Stop hating on it. But I don't know. Anyway, so this section's still underwater. Duh. So at this point, this is when you would need to go through and you would need to readjust all the water levels throughout the area to access all those other areas with a long shot. But I've already done those.
Let's go fight the boss.
So we're gonna go deal with Morpha. So a very real complaint that I had received from someone when I was playing through this game before is none of the bosses in the game really feel like super huge and over the top and grandiose, because I'd played Twilight Princess for them before, and all the bosses in Twilight Princess are huge. And I mean, Twilight Princess will always get an A from me on presentation, because the bosses are something else. Also, I hate this slope. I hate this slope. I hate these blade traps. But this is my least favorite part of the water temple right here. Is that nonsense? But it was a very real complaint that there was just not enough really grandiose bosses in Ocarina of Time. And I personally disagree. Because, oh, it's just a little amoeba. Oh, it's just a little amoeba that can control any body of water that it's in. Imagine if that was set loose in Lake Hylia. Oh, hold on. I want this fight to last a little bit longer because I enjoy this fight. So I'm not going to equip the big sword. I'm going to use the small sword. So, there are ways to cheese this fight. I'm not going to show any of them, but basically, this maneuver exists, the crouch stab, and it memorizes the amount of damage that you did with your last swing. It doesn't have its own damage. So if you land a jump attack and then you do that, every single swing from your crouch stab has the damage of a jump attack. Come here. Okay. Yeah, every damage from your crouch stab has the damage of a jump attack. You can corner Morpha's amoeba in the corner, or his nucleus, and just stab him into oblivion. I don't like doing that. I legitimately, unironically love this fight, because the concept of sentient water is terrifying. There are so many monsters in D&D that are just sentient water. Like, nobody tell Gary Gygax that sentient water is lame, because, good lord, a lot of cool stuff in that. Now you landed in the water. Go. No.
It's basically got this freaking look going through its little body.
Yeah, but... So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show... So Morpha only has like 2 attacks. Lunging forward and gently tapping you, or doing this. Now, it's not even num-num-numbing, it's just strangling you. And crushing your ribs. And then throws you across the room. Now, hilariously, if you land in the water, you just sink to the bottom immediately. But, like, that's a lot of damage. I don't even think Bongo Bongo does that amount of damage. Like, he might if he grabs you, but he does... He doesn't... Like, nothing else in this game does that much damage to you. Like, not even Volvagia does, and Volvagia has a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Behind them. But just, this is good. This is fun. This is entertaining. The concept of sentient water is, oh god. Also, if you land in the water, the nucleus will just bump into you and do damage. Don't grab me. I'm going over here. All the way over here. So as you get, the further you get into this fight and the more damage you do to him, he'll start summoning more tentacles. You can summon up to 3, I think. Come here. Oh. This is also when you get to see the biggest weaknesses of the hook shot, in that it only goes in a straight line most of the time. Like, oh, shit. So what's it gonna be? Is this gonna drop me low enough? Okay. It's not as much damage as I thought it was. Also, I'm on spikes. Hey, come on. Come on. Come on. I see you just waiting there with bated breath, waiting to see if we get to hear it. I also really like the noise that Morphin makes when he's making new tentacles. Ow. No, 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 no! Oh, no. So, we're definitely gonna hear it now. Oh, it's not even all that good. It's just a little chime. I'm sorry for all the build-up and the disappointment. Alright. I'm gonna play a little bit more carefully now. This doesn't normally happen, I swear.
Usually you've already beaten by now.
And, yeah, usually I'm on top of my game. She has abducted my headset.
I'm disappointed.
I told you. I called it. I called it back in the training grounds. I freaking called it. It was going to be a really disappointing, like, little chime. It wasn't going to be anything good. Alright. We've let this run on for a little bit, and my timer's getting a little bit up there, so I'll go ahead and I'll put the big sword back on. You were jumping at perfect swinging height.
What does that chime mean?
It's a chime from Zaria's song, I think. Alright. One more swing on you, and it should be... No. No. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna cast this one more time. I have a green potion, but I've got no way of really healing myself. So, when I got it, I didn't talk about it, but Nehru's Love, aka Zelda's Neutral Bee in Smash Bros., makes you completely invulnerable. You take no damage while the sword is active. Never do. I know, it could have been such a good sound effect. Instead, it was such a mediocre thing. Well, the good news is now I don't have to get my butt kicked in the final dungeon. You shrivel up, turn into a big old little drop. And sploosh. And Nehru's Love goes away. When you complete the dungeon, you actually get healed. Okay. There we go. That was the water temple. And then we go swoosh. And then we go to a cutscene, and we go here. And then I think I'm normally supposed to get one more cutscene about, look, you've gotten all the medallions, my dude. Now you can go stop Ganon. But first you must go meet the 7th Sage. I'm going to freaking die. Oh boy. And then normally this is when you're supposed to shoot the arrow at the sun, get the fire arrows to drop. And now it's all nice and pretty here. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Temple of Time, because now I have the Shadow Medallion and the Spirit Medallion, so the cutscene that would normally give me the light arrows should now, like, this is when it would play, but instead I'm just going to get whatever item it's supposed to be. Alright, what do we get? The 4th empty bottle, and it's filled with blue fire. Look at Link's face. It's hard to see through the item screen, but look at him. He is so disappointed. Alright, well that means I definitely have to still go do the... Fire Temple. I have to go do that.
It's the 3rd spot down there on the,
Alright, hold on. Let me throw fire on the ground. Where's what now?
The, 3rd spot under the arrows, that one.
That one right there?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the light arrows. Also, I realized I don't actually have Pharaoh's Wind. I thought I did. Huh. That's fine. So, well, I guess this will be the end of an episode. So I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me today, my dear mental angel. I'm so glad to have you here. And next time we'll go take care of the Fire Temple. So I'll go ahead and I'll see you guys all then. Bye.
Bye.
Link's dying. He's so tired. He's tired of hearing this stupid tambourine. I know. I am super disappointed too, Link. It's okay.
Rip.
Bye.